It's a beautiful Monday morning in the city of Lagos, southwest Nigeria. My name is Damola Ogunshaki. And this morning, I'll be reviewing the front pages of the dailies and also analyzing them. I'm starting with Vanguard. Vanguard is leading with NAIRA Notes, Buhari reps, heading for clash over 10-day extension. Lawmakers say law must be duly followed. Describe extension as mere political gimmick. Monetary caucus hails Apex Bank over deadline extension. All old notes to be deposited in CBN by February 17. EFCC, ICPC operatives deployed in banks. Banks continue to dispense old notes and limit ATM withdrawal of new notes. Why we are still dispensing old notes that's coming from bankers. Frustrated customers besiege banks, threatening showdown. Different strokes for POS operators. Widespread rejection of old notes. You can see that story on page 19 of Vanguard newspaper. Here we have photo stories. Of course, this is a Vanguard Personality of the Year Award 2022. We have Ashiwaju Solomon Onofowokon presenting Vanguard Public Sector Icon of the Year Award to Muhammad Bello Koko, MD NPA, as others look on at the Vanguard Personality of the Year Awards 2022 held at Eco Hotel, Lagos. We also have Yeye Odua, Erelu Abiola Dosubu presenting Vanguard 2022 Distinguished Public Service Award to Brigadier General Buba Marwa, retired, Chairman, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA. And last year, we have Senator Bodiola Jumoke presenting Vanguard Lifetime Achievement Award to Dr. Jackson J. Gaius Obaseki. Now, stories below on page 10, OSUN Governorship Poll. I will protect your mandate, Adeleke tells protesters. Buhari's visit, Ganduje makes U-turn, says Kano ready to host president. That can be seen on page 34. On page 39, sport. Rogers, Yenachos first class. Stories above, petrol scarcity. NMDPRA blames smugglers. You can see that on page 9. And lastly, on Vanguard newspaper, Black Sunday, 20 killed in Lagos, Ondo auto crashes. You can see that story on page 6 of the Vanguard newspaper. Now, away from there, we move to the Punch newspaper. At the Punch this morning is leading with new Naira. Anger spreads over scarcity. Reps oppose CBN extension. Customers stranded. ATMs empty as worshippers dump old notes in churches. CBN deploys 30,000 super agents nationwide to bolster cash swap program. Emefiele says 1.9 trillion naira old notes deposited projects a 900 billion naira before deadline. And on page 22, Jakpa, 2,000 doctors dumped Nigeria 2022, says NAD. UN project 3% growth for Nigeria. Stories above, court delivers judgment seeking 2023 polls cancellation. That can be seen on page 20. And lastly, on the Punch newspaper, Ekoramadu in court Tuesday after a 223-day detention. And that can be seen on page 18. Now let's look at the Nation newspaper. The Nation this morning is leading with Naira swap rolls deepens. Reps reject 10-day deadline extension. CBN to mop up 900 billion naira more from circulation. And inside, we have no banks in 24 Kano local governments. Cash scarcity persists at ATM points. POS operators record boom. Bike charges. Expert faults a short extension by Apex Bank. Stories below. 2 kids among 9 killed as container fall on commercial bus in Lagos. Gbajabiamila wants container trucks barred from Ojuelegba Bridge. You can see that story on page 6. Adeleke puts a University of Ilesha on hold. 5 Cameroonians held for kidnapping. You can see these stories on pages 27 and 6. Stories above, pension funds rise to 15 trillion naira, investment return is 13%. Lastly, on the Nation, Buhari unmoved by PDP's abuses, says Tinubu. Nnamani, I dumped article for Tinubu because PDP reneged on zoning. You can see that story on page 6. And the Guardian is leading with new Naira notes fuel crisis compound Nigerians' woes. Old banknotes withdrawal extended to February 17 faces legal test. Emefiele, banks rake in 2.4 trillion naira. Currency outside system down to 25%. Youth call off planned protest at CBN headquarters. Security consultant calls for presidential task force against saboteurs. And Ayade yet to implement teachers' promotion since 2015. PDP Guba candidate alleged. You can see that on page 29. Buhari jettisons Ganduje security alerts. Visits Kano today. Stories above. You are killing Nigerians in installments. Labour leader tells Buhari. You can see that on page 5. Lastly, on the Guardian newspaper, gunmen kill 5 security operatives along Enugu Abakaliki Highway. You can see that on page 9 of the Guardian. And that's all we have on the front pages of dailies this morning. Join us after the break for the analysis with our guest. Welcome back. If you are just joining me, this is Today in the News on Vanguard Live. I'm Damlola Shaki. Joining me this morning is Mr. Aliu Mohammed. He is now the CEO of Magnet Communications, former editor of Daily Times and Concord newspaper. Good morning, Mr.
Good morning, Damlola. How are you?
Very fine. Thank you very much. And of course, the NAIRA notes, the old, submitting your old notice has been extended now. I'm sure you experienced what happened over the weekend where people were stranded and unable, to withdraw money due to the fact that they didn't want to spend old notes. Now, what do you think about this extension? Do you agree with it?
Well, to start with, in all countries where we've had change of currencies, the situation is that the old and the new currencies circulate together till a very long time, that the circulation of the new notes will dominate the old notes. But if you look at the aim of this government in changing the color or redesigning, that's what they called it, the Naira, the aim is to check money laundering, according to the president. Money laundering, people keeping huge sums of money outside the banks, and reducing the circulation of money within the banking system. If you look at it holistically, I want to agree with the government, but you see, you don't have to embark on a wild goose chase in ensuring that the old notes are moved out of circulation. You have to give time. But in Nigeria, what we have today is a jackboot approach to this problem. People are being starved of funds. Those who really didn't steal but worked hard for their money are now facing the problem of having cash with them. I passed through a lot of automated bank machines, ATM, between Wednesday and the weekend. It was a big war, huge queues, which are unnecessary. It is a very simple process. The CBN has directed commercial banks to ensure the circulation of the new notes. But for whatever reasons, these new notes are not in circulation. You can only see them at burial ceremonies, wedding ceremonies, birthday ceremonies, in the hands of hawkers who are selling these new notes at exorbitant rates. Almost, if you want 1,000, you have to pay about 300 naira to get about 3,000. If you want 100,000, you have to pay 30% to get a pack of 1,000, which is 100,000. I don't know what sense that makes to people. If you want to get a pack of 500 naira notes at parties, you have to pay 30% because you just want to spray that money. There is a video circulating. The video showed somebody dancing and they were spraying words of 500 naira notes. And yet this money is not available for those who really just want to make a living. They want to eat. They want to be able to fulfill their obligations to their families. It is ridiculous. CBN keeps shouting that the banks, commercial banks, should stop dispensing old notes. If you still go to some commercial banks now, till today, they are still dispensing old notes. It shows that we operate in a lawless environment. If the CBN cannot give an instruction and that instruction will be obeyed, then there is a problem. So who is the boss? Is it the CBN governor or the commercial banks? So we have to sit down and evaluate the system of ensuring that the new notes is fully in circulation before you now put a lien on the circulation of the old notes. If you know that you don't have enough of the new notes to circulate around the whole country, let us continue to spend both notes together till such a time that they will have enough new notes to circulate around the country. If you are talking about those who are in the cities, you are not talking about villagers that don't have access to ATM machines.
But do you think this extension, this 10-day extension, will still work? Because in 24 local governments in Kano, 24 local governments in Kano, it's said to have no banks.
Yes, I even learned that they are protesting, they are demonstrating in Kano. And I'm sure that if that is not well managed, it could lead to something else. You want to spend money, your own money, and somebody is saying you can't spend it. Well, what kind of situation is that? There is no fuel, there is no light, you can't even get money to feed yourself. What kind of environment are we? So CBN should sit down with heads of commercial banks and perfect their arrangement to ensure that whatever they have to do is done before on the 10th, to ensure that there is enough of this new currency in circulation. The problem is that they don't have enough of the new currency in circulation. You can't get the new currency from at least 8 out of 10 automated machines. You can't. The POS operators that has come to the rescue of so many people, they have increased their charges from 100 naira to 300 for 10,000 naira. If you take 10,000 from them, you have to pay 300 naira. It used to be 100 naira. They are also giving out old notes. Then where are the new notes? We have to make sure that this new notes circulates very well. So otherwise, the February 10 date is just a mere date. There you can't have a successful withdrawal of the old notes by on the 10th if the new notes are not made available.
So are you in support of the reps who is demanding for 6-month extension?
Oh, sure. Give 6 months. Why are they rushing? Whoever has trillions of the old notes at home cannot even bring them to the bank immediately for fear of being labeled as a money launderer. So give them time. Let them bring this money gradually to the bank. If you truly want whatever is in their hands to go back to the bank and go into circulation through the central bank. It doesn't make any sense if you allow them to keep that money and it becomes useless. It's not helping them and it's not helping the system. If I have 1 trillion in my house and you are saying that I must come and deposit 1 trillion between today is 29 or 30, between today and on the 10th, it's not possible. How do I bring 1 trillion to the bank and won't get arrested? Which is the aim of government, to ensure that those who have large sums of money at home, bring them to the bank and some of them could be interrogated. You heard the central bank governor saying that the EFCC, ICPC have been put on the alert to watch those who are coming with trillions. Do you think they are stupid? They won't bring the money out. So let them gradually, whether it is in millions they want to bring to the bank, let them do that gradually. You are not helping the system if you scare them away from bringing the trillions to the bank. Because the way the central bank is going about it, what they think they will achieve may fail. Because I can't have 1 trillion at home and I know that the EFCC is monitoring me and I will carry it to the bank to get arrested. I will be stupid. That is the truth of the matter. You see, create a conducive atmosphere for them to bring the money. Don't make arrest, interrogation, your reason for asking them to bring the money. Let them bring the money to the bank. Don't let them know that you even want to investigate. You can quietly investigate. That is the thing with Nigerians. In the UK or in the US, no matter how much you want to deposit in the bank, nobody will harass you. It is when you bring the money there that the interrogation will begin. But now you are already talking about EFCC, ICPC being at alert and watching those who want to bring trillions to the bank. You think they will bring it out? They are not stupid. They will change the money, borrow the change the money to dollar, and those ones will conveniently bring the money to the bank. Because if you ask him the source of his funds, he will tell you that he's into currency sales, and you can't arrest him.
All right. Nigerians seems to be questioning NLC in all of this. I mean, we've had the fuel scarcity for some time now, and this the currency and everything, data extension, and the fact they were they didn't see NLC. I mean, usually we'll see NLC come out to say they're going on strike or they're going to, but in all of this, they're quiet.
Why must the NLC spearhead the interest of Nigerians always when Nigerians themselves don't care about what is going on, what is affecting them? In other climes, what is happening in Nigeria today cannot happen there without any trouble. Do you know that in some countries, in Europe, some countries protested over a rise in the price of bread? It became a major issue. But this is the 3rd month that we've not have enough supply of petrol and petroleum products. And nobody has come out to protest. Nobody is talking. We are so docile. Like Fela said, we are all afraid. We don't want to come out and no one die. Mama dey for house. Papa dey for house. That is our attitude. And once the government knows that people don't have the courage to come out to protest, they will continue to heap all sorts of nonsense on the people. Can you imagine the kind of suffering people are going through? You have to go and kill. On my way now to this studio, I left my house at 8:30. I got here at 10. It's not for any reason of traffic jam, no. But the traffic jam was created at petrol stations. I have queued to buy petrol, and I will still burn the petrol in petrol queue. That is silly. And nobody is doing anything. Nobody is protesting. People are not talking. And the government itself is quiet. So why would you think that the NLC is the appropriate person that will speak for Nigeria? The NLC is just an organization representing workers, government workers. So they will issue press releases, they will come up with all sorts of threats, and at the end of the day, they will compromise on whatever decision they are supposed to take because money would have exchanged hands. A lot of these people, once government approach them and say, look, please, don't do this now. You want to truncate the forthcoming election. But by their own acts, they are aiming at truncating that election. How would voting materials be moved if this petrol scarcity continues till February 25? How will people move around? Those who will have to go from one place to another to vote, how do you want them to move around? To even go to work is a lot of trouble. There is no light. You are expected to run your generator with either petrol or diesel. You know the cost of diesel today. almost 1,000, and petrol is not available. It is killing, it is disturbing that we live like slaves in Nigeria. This kind of thing can't happen in some other places. Look at Republic of Benin, very close to us here. They have 24 hours power. What is happening to Nigeria? What is happening? Who are the advisors of our government? Who are the advisors of those in power? Is it that these advisors are not saying the truth, or those in power are not listening to what people are saying? It is sad. We are living like slaves in Nigeria. You wake up in the morning, you don't even have water to bath because there is no light to pump water. And we have accepted our fate that government can't give us water, and we are the one that generates water through the digging of borehole. A state government even went ahead to say that we will have to be paying before we can dig a borehole. That is a government that cannot give us water, and we are arranging water by ourselves, and they are still saying that we must. That is the height of insults on Nigerians. So I don't know. It is sad.
All right, let's move away from that. The tribunal sacked Governor Ademola Adeleke on Friday. What do you think about this?
Well, when I started hearing about overvoting, I knew that at the end of the day, the excess vote will be annulled. I knew that from the court proceedings that I have read in newspapers. I knew that this was coming, and it will be I don't want to use harsh words. It will be it will not be right for somebody to say that the judgment was not expected. I expected it, but like the governor has told us in several interviews that he is going to the appeal courts. You know, and I'm sure by now they will be putting their papers in the appeal court. He still have some few days to appeal, and the appeal will be heard, and I'm sure justice will be served by the appeal court. It's a normal part of democracy. It's a normal part of election. When you have an election, aggrieved people will go to court. Don't forget that even the first civilian governor of Osun State, Aregbesola, went to court. His matter was in court for over 1 year before he was pronounced governor, and Oyinlola was removed. So it is not the first time that this is happening in Osun State. And I'm sure it's not going to be the last time. So the truth of the matter is that the courts will decide who is right. I mean the appeal court. So the governor still have the opportunity to appeal, and then let us see what comes out of his appeal.
But do you think we can get over this, the fact that courts keep deciding winners?
No, I just told you that it is part of democracy in Nigeria. An aggrieved party must appeal to the court. It must go to court. If you feel cheated in an election, if you feel that something is wrong with an election, you can go to court. There is a provision for that in the Electoral Act. But what I dislike in the entire court process is the long delay in giving judgment in electoral cases. All these court matters are supposed to have been done before a governor is sworn in. It makes it easy. Assuming that Adeleke has not been sworn in and there is a court judgment stopping him, he won't have to go to the appeal court as a sitting governor. They will not swear him in, but they will go ahead and swear in the person who won that case. But now they have created a crisis. The governor is already sitting, and he will have to go, hand over to somebody else. They will start another transition process. Whoever takes over from him will have to sit down and nominate people who want to work with him. That will take another 6 months. And we are slowing down the progress of that administration. So if there is an election, we must amend our electoral acts to allow court decisions to be taken before governors or the people that have been elected, before they are sworn in, either the governor, the legislators, or even the president. Let the court process be through before they take office.
So with this, can we say that the beavers system failed? The beavers failed.
Of course, politicians will find a way of circumventing every rule and regulation of an election. They will find, even as we are talking, they are already perfecting plans on how they will circumvent beavers in the forthcoming election. The process seems simple. Apart from beavers, you are to transmit results from the polling booths to INEC website, from where INEC will pick the result and announce. It is supposed to be, but you see, our politicians are like devils. They will find a way to circumvent anything. They are like devils, because that to me is such an open and straightforward process of collating results. But they will find a way of circumventing it. If you bring Jesus Christ himself to Nigeria to be the INEC chairman, people will rig elections. They will rig. And it is unfortunate. We have to go far above rigging in our elections. Go to other parts of the world. They don't declare holidays on election days. People will go to work. When they are coming back, they will vote and go to their homes. We don't have the kind of tension that we always have here. And during elections, people will stay at home. They can't come out. Everybody will be afraid to go out because you are not sure of what could happen. Last week, I saw the video of some politicians shooting directly at people. Joe Elegba. What has shooting got to do with an electoral process? Why would people behave like animals because we want to get to an office? I don't care who the person is, either a PDP man or APC. If you killed some people last week, will that mean that it will have an expressway to that office? Why the violence? Why do you need pump action guns to campaign? It is senseless. And so, you see, people must educate their children on the need to refrain from serving as thugs for politicians, because their children are not in Nigeria as we are talking now. Their children are abroad. All the flights to different parts of the world are fully booked by Nigerians, big boys who are running away from elections, who are taking their families out of Nigeria because they believe that there is going to be violence on the 25th. Go and do your checks. Flight tickets, the cost of flight tickets is now between 2.5-3 million, because everybody is running out of Nigeria out of fear that there could be violence. When are we going to stay above this kind of situation? We don't need it. If people are honest, if people are going to whatever office they are contesting for to serve, do you need guns? Do you need arrows? Do you need knives? Do you need daggers? Do you need axes to fight for election? You don't need all that nonsense. All you need to do is to open your mouth and tell the people what you want to do for them. Not that the same people that you want their votes, you will now be killing them to achieve what? We must rise above all this violence when we are approaching election period. Like I said, the children of these politicians live abroad. They are not here.
All right, let's move away from that and talk about this one. So this sad event happened in Lagos yesterday as a truck conveying a 20 feet container lost control and landed on a commercial bus and killed. It killed 9 people at Ujuelegba in Lagos. Now, what do you think about truck conveying containers moving during the day?
You see, the problem with containers is that there is no law compelling them that every container driven vehicles or vehicles carrying containers must have these containers well locked on the trucks. I have seen some of them on the road driving without anything holding down the container they are carrying. And this thing is constant around Ojuelegba because as you climb the Ojuelegba bridge, you see some potholes there. A container that is not well clamped on the truck, if it runs into those big holes, the container will flip off. That is what is happening there. I have passed through that Ojuelegba bridge. I don't know why nobody is trying to get the portion that is filled with potholes there filled. It is unfortunate that this is happening. If you look at most containers, the containers themselves are not well clipped to the trucks.
Should they
So
be
there
moving
must
during
be
the day?
if they move at night, you can still have the same accident at night. Don't forget that people move around in Lagos till about 11, 12. So it can still happen. What we need now is a strong law that will compel all container laden trucks to ensure that the containers are well clipped to the trucks. They just put containers there and put one iron across. And once the container flips, both the iron that they put and the container goes down on cars. I have personally studied that. In the process of driving, I look at the back of containers. Once the container is on the truck, you will look at the back very well. They will just put one iron. Abroad, they have clips with which they ensure that the container stays on the truck without flipping across to any vehicle. So this is an assignment for LASMA. This is an assignment for traffic policemen. This is an assignment for the Federal Road Safety Commission. They should save lives by ensuring that those containers are well clipped on the trucks. Without that, we continue. That Ojuelegba bridge has become famous for containers falling and killing people. And I think that road should be repaired. I have a mental picture of the road. It states there are some potholes. If you are climbing it, you have to maneuver so that you don't get into those potholes. That stayed there long enough. They should go and repair that road.
All right, let's end this on lighter notes with Mr. and Mrs. And there's a picture showing Mrs. giving Mr. old NAIRA notes. And Mr. says, what? Maria, so you have up to 150,000 naira, even in my own house, without my knowledge, women. And Mrs. replied, men, is this not better than the ones deposited with mistresses that can't see the light of the day? Come on, go and change this old note to new ones for me, like a good boy.
How did Mrs. know that some notes are deposited with mistresses? That is going beyond her bank.
But of course, we have to leave women with their imaginations. Thank you very much, Mr. Ali Muhammad, for joining us this morning.
You're most welcome.
Yes, and he's now the CEO of Magnet Communications, former editor of Daily Times and Concord newspaper. He just reviewed and analyzed some of the stories on the front pages with us this morning. Now, to get more of our top stories, you can follow us on all our social media platforms showing on your screen. On Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Our WhatsApp number is also displayed on your screen. It's bye from me, Damlola Okushaki, and have a lovely week.